and then we will open up to live Q&A. Question number 1 comes from the Spike. Sentinels usually plays Killjoy on Breeze, but today it was Cypher. So what's the reason behind this change?
Whoa, like feedback. But okay, yeah. So with the Cypher change, I feel like we were kind of behind on the meta because we were running Killjoy, and we realized that a lot of teams have really good setup with Cypher. Like he can use his cam to, use map control. Like on defense, he can hold mid with his cam. So we noticed that like it was more annoying to play against a Cypher than a Killjoy. So like you always want to play what's annoying to you. You don't want to just like keep using like the character that you think might be better, but what's actually like more annoying is Cypher, in my opinion, on Breeze.
Yeah. Another question from the Spike is Sentinel's defense had difficulties on Ascent and Breeze, but how will the team change its play style for the upcoming matches?
Yeah, I think defense is our weaker side right now, but it's not really something that I worry about in particular. I think it's just how that game has evolved with so much utility and like Sky using, Wolf and Sophie using a drone all the time, stuff like that. And the Viper utility is like really impressive too. So I don't think I'm too worried about our defense. I think some of it just comes down to like us being a little bit rusty on the mechanics because we haven't played a match in so long. So we got to get back in that match mode and like do the setups we normally do and talk to each other more. And then I think our defense will be better for sure.
This question comes from Sportskita. So picking Cypher instead of Killjoy on Breeze, do you feel like this change messed with your composition at all?
No, I don't think so. I think we developed a pretty good game plan around playing Cypher, but I think FURIA just honestly, they're a pretty good team. Like maybe they've been underestimated a little bit coming to their tournament, but in my opinion, they had like really good reads. They have really good aim. So I think a lot of stuff with Cypher, we just need to refine more. And it might seem like right now it's hurting us, but I think in the long run, like it's a better character for us.
Final pre-submitted question, also from Sportskita, is Sentinel struggles a bit to win the defending rounds on Ascent and Breeze and attacking on Haven. So what made Sentinels lose this round?
Well, I mean, it just goes back to like the whole thing with defense for us. Like, I think we struggle a bit in the meta currently with more heavy utility comps where the attacker side will push us off and they'll just use a lot of utility to like annoy us, and then we can't get the info that we want and we can't take the duels we want. And a lot of our strength are honestly just like taking the duel and getting away, but teams don't let us do that anymore. So we just have to adapt and play a little bit more passive and think a little bit more about like what decisions we make with our characters. So yeah, I think that is most of it. And on attack, I don't know, just unlucky, I guess. Yeah.
The journalist is present in the Zoom room, so please use the Zoom hand raise feature to queue yourself in line, and I will call on you. We have Upcomer.
Hey, congrats on the victory. That's what you just mentioned, that FURIA, you said they're a little underestimated coming to the tournament, and they performed very well. What's your impression of them coming off this match, because it is the first time you played them?
Yeah, like I said, I just think they have really good teamwork and their aim is on par with even like us or any of the top teams. So I think if they work a little bit more on their teamwork and they get maybe a little bit of the nerves out, maybe they're a little less experienced with the land gameplay, I think they could be a strong contender even in this tournament or maybe in the future.
Next question comes from One Tap Valorant.
Hi, I just want to congratulate you on your victory.
Thank you.
Each game was somewhat close. What was your mindset going into the game? Were you nervous at all, or?
Yeah, I would say it was a little bit of nerves because obviously no matter how much experience you have, no matter how many matches you have played in your life, like you'll have a little bit of nerves when you haven't played a match for so long. Like you think about the circuit right now for us, since we qualified for this LAN a long time ago, like we didn't have to go through like any sort of learning experiences as of late, like with matches, and that's where we learn our best. So I'm glad that we ended up losing a map here and not losing the series, because then we get to learn and move on and move on in the winners bracket.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck ahead of the tournament.
Thank you.
Next question from Up.
How do you feel about the tech pauses that have happened with maybe the ones that in your match?
Oh yeah, so the tech pause, we didn't know what was going on for a long time. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what happened, but I will anyway. So there was an apparent exploit that FURIA was using, but I didn't agree that was an exploit. So on Haven C, like they the Jet would tap the crouch key to get on top of the box to peek along and to not use an updraft. It's been a mechanic for a long time, and I was really confused, like, oh, you know, how the admin thought that was an exploit, because to me it's like it's a normal part of the game and it's been used a lot. But for a long time we were just like, oh, we got to get this over with. Like we're all getting antsy because, you know, we're about to close the game out, and there's a chance we didn't. So we just wanted to play the round and see what happened.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Pedro Romero, The Click.
Hey, SicK, congrats on the victory against.
Thank you.
Against FURIA. I'd like to know your thoughts on the rest of the group, given that Crew and Liquid are set to face off in the following moments. Like, how do they stand? Who is your biggest challenge and stuff of that nature?
Yeah, so I rate the European teams pretty highly. I think they, even carrying over from Counter-Strike, I can tell they have really good ideas and they're really smart players. Like all of them, obviously, they know what they're doing. So I would rate Liquid higher than Crew, but I think overall we should focus on what Liquid's doing in the match. Like we'll look at them because honestly, I would say they're the favorites in that.
All right, and final question from One Tap Valorant.
Who would you consider your toughest challenge in the tournament, you know, looking ahead?
I would say Gambit. I think they're still really strong opponents and they're so annoying to play against. Like even in scrims, I can just tell they have like really insane aim, and sometimes the things they do, I'm like, is that really good? But they just like headshot all of us and the round's over in like 10 seconds. So I'd say Gambit, their teamwork is really good and their aim is really good, and they have ideas that don't even make sense to me. So I'm like, you know, obviously I would say since they won the last tournament as well, they're our biggest opponent, I would say.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for the questions, and we will start the next scrum shortly.